My name is Brandon Booth, and I go by he, him. I'm originally from Michigan, small town northern Michigan, Traverse City, but I'm currently residing in Seattle, Washington. I came from a small town just a little bit west of Traverse City named Thompsonville. Very small population. I graduated with a class of, I think, 85, so I was looking to break out of that as soon as I could. As I was getting older, I knew I wanted out of that small town, and so fled to college to Central Michigan, where it got a little bit bigger, but still wasn't big enough for me, so I picked one of the bigger cities in America and fled out to Seattle, but got out of that small town as soon as I could. Yeah, I love sports. Wasn't much to do besides sports. You see, either an athlete or a farmer, I love playing sports. Baseball was mine. Played basketball, football, and baseball up until high school, and then I committed completely to baseball. That was really all there was to do there. A lot of baseball players where I was from. Not until recently, other than your typical cell phones and computers. I was playing games and stuff as I was growing up on my phones and computers, but didn't really get into technology, deep diving, and really learning about the internet and how the web works and stuff like that until just about 8-9 months ago now. I would absolutely say so. Personally, my family, has had a history of incarceration and had a history with abuse, different alcohol and system abuse and stuff like that. But on top of that, yes, for my family to stay impoverished and also to keep running their systemic abuse in the family in a small area like that, it definitely didn't help. It compounded the fact that my family loved to kind of stay in poverty, kind of be the victim, always beating themselves up. So yeah, where I came from and how I was raised definitely contributed to me continuing that long-term incarceration, or kind of keep going those kind of bad values, I guess you would say. Mental health was kind of a stigma, not to be really talked about. Never really learned how to, navigate my emotions or navigate, my own head or my own thoughts. It was kind of just put it away and get over it, or you don't type thing. And so really have, over the last especially 5 or 6 years, explored my mental health with various doctors or various loved ones and such. And I can tell, growing up in a town where that's stigmatized, or, not so many people are willing to talk about their issues and talk about their emotions, it definitely causes some problems, causes some difficulties. It's harder to do things on your own when nobody's taught you how to handle those things on your own, So I was in county jail for over a year in Everett, Washington. It was hard. It was obviously the first kind of major shock to me. I was just kind of being a young adult, still kind of a kid, in my mind, and made the mistakes that I made to put me in the position that I was in. But just like everything, I adapted. I went through my pains, my troubles, in my own head and stuff. But got used to that system in there. Made sure I made the friends and made the connections that I needed to make sure that I was doing the things I needed to do to survive, and to make sure that I was going to come out at the end. And then I just started looking for that tunnel at the end. Incarceration was no doubt hard, but not the hardest thing that's happened to me in my life. It's absolutely that. Knowing that coming out of the end of it, I was going to be better, and knowing that I had bigger plans for my life, and that, yes, I continued kind of this hurdles that, I don't like to put blame on anybody. It's like we were talking about earlier, my family or the town that I came from, they're not the reasons I made the mistakes I made. They contributed to it, no doubt, but that was the silver lining for me, was knowing that I'm going to get a chance to come out of the end of this, be my own man, be my own person, and then I'm going to have the opportunity again to make decisions to put me wherever I want to be, and I'm going to make sure that those decisions now are not the same as the decisions I made when I was a little bit of a younger man. Yeah, it was, that was harder than being incarcerated in and of itself, the reentry, absolutely. Getting out after 18 months of incarceration and being given, I think the state of Washington gave me $50 and a halfway home address, and said you had 3 months rent free to live here and you're kind of on your own. And so I would definitely not have been able to make it if I didn't have the support of my aunt, my grandpa, and then was fortunate enough to meet some really great loved ones out here, and now my current wife, Megan, and yeah, shout out to Megan. Without those people, undoubtedly, I would have continued to fail. I would have continued to either be forced to, or just done it out of boredom, make some similar choices that I had been making in my life. The reentry process is absolutely overwhelming. It is hard. It is not to be joked about. It needs rework at 110%. But for me, the reentry process was saved by those people. I wouldn't have been able to do it without leaning on those support systems. Yeah, absolutely. Let me think on that for a second. Some of the things I've experienced in prison, in terms of trauma, one thing that comes up is I'm Latino. I was raised in a very white area, been pretty whitewashed my whole life. But when I get in the prison system and I start to realize there are a lot of Latinos here, there are a lot of black males here specifically. I saw a lot of males, obviously being a male myself, so I was in the male units, but there are a lot of colored people here. Why are there so many of us here? I started to kind of tap into my roots a little bit. I started to hang out with a lot of minorities. I started to hang out with a lot of Latinos, specifically for me, trying to tap into my roots there and find that. And you just start to find out like all these people, they're the same as all the people I was talking to on the outside. I had the opportunity to go to a university. I did get myself a small scholarship and when I was younger, and I got to see all these stand-up people who are doing things the right way. And I'll be honest with you, in prison, I mean, those people are the exact same. They carry themselves the same way. They just like me, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is they come from either a systemic life of this whole path has been trodden by my family and this is all I know, or the area around them, like I said, mine, being predominantly white, a lot of big truck drivers, nothing against truck drivers, but a lot of American flag tone people, and so being knocked down by my race a lot for when I was young and such, it's traumatic when you get in there and realize that so many people are just what's the word I'm looking for? Defeated already. You're defeated because of the way you look, or the way you've been made to feel because of the way you look. And so meeting queer people inside prison, they're picked on a lot. Not particularly in prison, but I'm just talking about in life in general. So it's interesting to get into. I would say for this question, for the trauma, it was interesting for me to get into prison, meet all of these beat up and minority populations, and realize why are we so beat up? Why was I continuing? Because I was a part of that problem. I was propagating those same issues before I had that opportunity to get to meet these people and meet them on a real level. And so it was so eye-opening and traumatic to me to realize that we're all human. That was the big thing. That's when I started to realize we are all the same. But all of us here, we've all got one thing that just wasn't right to the outside world, right? Or a couple of things that wasn't right. It didn't fit the mold to what they're trying to create out there, and that hurts. I mean, because it's just like even if I wasn't in prison, or even if all of us didn't have to come out of this right now, we still got this against us. And so how can I feel like how can I feel like I can do anything, even if I want to do something? Because there's just this big monkey on your back that I didn't realize was really on everybody's back. But really opened my eyes to that when I got incarcerated. Yeah. My incarcerated time was made easier by a couple of the POs and stuff like that, or a couple of the watchmen and things like that. Like, they were upstanding guys, upstanding women, and they did their jobs with the level of respect and maturity that you expected out of them. Unfortunately, it didn't seem that everybody was vetted the same way, and not all of them carried that kind of respect. So, I mean, the biggest gripe for me is just the fact that so many people are ready to dismiss what any criminal says, and anybody who's been locked up, they're automatically a liar. And so you get a bunch of people in there abusing their power because they've got the keys, they've got the ability to lock you down for 48 hours, they've got literally all the power in the world when you're incarcerated. And a lot of them are pretty evil people. And so it sucks to see those kind of people make it through to a position where if they weren't those kind of people, you can change people's lives in there. I mean, one specifically in Everett, I remember a PO who, the way he talked to this person who was kind of having a fit and calmed him down, instead of this person going off and he had bitten on other officers, he had spitting on them all the time, they'd had to strap him up a couple of times. This guy talked to him like a human and was able to calm him down. Didn't lock him down, didn't go throw him in the hole for a week or a month at a time, whatever it was. And so that's my biggest gripe with it, is the fact that they let a lot of evil men come in to patrol the people that they believe are evil. And they've got the devil right there, and they're paying them $40 an hour wage. Yeah. Great question. First, I wanted to make sure that I was out of a halfway house. That was my step goal. I wanted to make sure I had been, even outside of prison before that, living with other people my whole life. I kind of, that's the only way I could really afford it, only way I could get by. I told myself, I'm going to be building my life now. I'm going to be focusing on me. I'm not going to really listen to the outside noise. I'm worrying about me. And worrying about me didn't just mean, being selfish and only caring about me, because during that time where I was worrying about me, I was able to meet my beautiful wife, some of my best friends in the world, a lot of great resources, but I was focusing and putting myself first for really the first time in my life. And so that was my goal, was get out, saw the position I was in, I'm not gonna lie, it beat me up a little bit. But then, like you said, to kind of sit down, I remember sitting down on my bed and being like, okay, what are you gonna do out of here? You've been out about 3 days now. I know we got to start finding work. Now we got to start doing these things, and laid out a plan and was like, I'm gonna get to work. Ended up finding a retail customer service job, and then as soon as I knew my income, I was like, here's how much I got to save. Here's how much I got to budget. I am out of this house at the 3-month line, and was able to do it. So. And then it's kind of all just been paving the road slowly from there. Oh yeah, I think that was through Twitter. I think there was another program I was just reading about and scrolling through, I think by the name of Underdog Devs, and I was following a thread, and it had led me to Emergent Works, and so I reached out to Emergent Works back in January of 21, and I think it was Eli who had replied and said that unfortunately that one was full or anything, but he's going to keep my email. He'll tap in if we were able to do anything with the next session or anything like that. And sure enough, came around June, I got an email from Eli, and blessed day for sure. Yeah, it's been great. I got to meet my mentor Cole. He was fantastic. Happens to also be from Seattle. I don't know if you guys did that on purpose somehow, but yeah. Absolutely everybody I've met has been great. I've been able to tap in with some great people. Just off the top of my head, I know I'm going to be forgetting some people, but Dino, Scissors, Demar, they've all been really instrumental people that I've kind of contacted or at least seen in the meetings, in all of our bi-weekly meetings and everything. So summer cohort has been absolutely fantastic. I've really seen the trajectory from my skills. I was trying to teach myself, learning HTML and CSS, starting to feel like I had a grasp on that bear, and then I was introduced to JavaScript myself and was like, oh man, I'm too dumb for this. I'm not going to be able to complete this. This is way over my my skill level. And then that was kind of almost like it was meant to be right when Eli came knocking and said that there was a availability in the cohort. And so with Cole now so far, my skills have just gone kind of up, flatlined, and then the summer cohort started, and I've just been kind of really going up ever since. That's not to say it's been easy. I mean, this stuff has been extremely hard, but the progress is absolutely like tenfold better when you've got that mentorship to lean on. And it's not just the mentorship from Cole, but the mentorship from everybody here at Emergent Works. Obviously, I know I can tap into anybody that's on our Slack channel at any time and get an answer. Cole personally has been fantastic. I don't know just how you guys were able to find somebody that was almost just like me. From Seattle, we both got similar. We wake up at similar times. We got similar schedules. So really, everything's been really easy to meet with Cole. I just got a new employment position with Uber, and so I've been my schedule's been a little slower because of that. So I actually haven't been able to meet Cole in about the last 8 days. But he's very understanding, which is the great thing. And so I reached out and we were able to talk. And so we're going to meet each other tomorrow for an hour and then catch up on the weekend and do some long hours. But that just speaks to the guy that he is. He's always there whenever I need anything. If he's got something coming up, he's going to communicate about that. And I would assume with my interactions with all of Emergent Works that all of the mentors are pretty much the same. But absolutely, I couldn't think of anybody else being my mentor besides Cole. He's just been fantastic the whole time. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know yet. I know I want to do something in programming. I want to stay in this tech industry. I'm really leaning towards, I believe, trying to teach, trying to pass these opportunities that I've seen, these doors open up to me. I want to be somebody who can open those doors to other individuals, especially like I was talking about earlier, the Latino community. All of that stuff is really important to me, and like I said, I wasn't able to tap into that as much when I was younger, kind of being raised in a smaller community only by my white side of the family. So I'd love to be able to explore that more and give back to previously incarcerated individuals, but especially colored individuals who have harder times opening those doors. And showing them that, hey, if you just barrel down, you get your head in the right space and you want to set on this path, I promise you can lay out this path for yourself. Like, you can't do it your own, but you can be the one who lays these bricks with the help from us. Tech space, yeah. I mean, the big ones are obviously get women in positions of higher in payment, number one. And then, like I said, I've kind of been leaning on it the whole conversation. But yeah, get marginalized and the minorities more opportunities. It's not to say that people would love to point to any successful Latino or any successful Black person and say, oh look, people do break the mold. Obviously, you can pick that one, but I'd love to see more equal opportunities. It should be very close to a 50-50 because this stuff is learnable, and there are people out there who know this stuff that just don't have the opportunities to meet the right people to show them that they have the skills. And so I think the big thing, like I said, is making sure to network and open those doors for those people so that they can show off those skills. Yeah, great question, because it's hard to come up with just one thing, and people would love to obviously see like maybe like a 5 or 6 step plan and how to get something done in X amount of time. Unfortunately, the honest thing is it's not like that. The best piece of advice I can say is just keep pushing. You're going to meet those obstacles. You're going to meet a hurdle that seems unjumpable. You're going to meet that mountain that just stands in your way. But if you keep pushing, just like I did when it seemed impossible, I happened to stumble along an Emergent Works thread on Twitter. I put it out there, a mountain comes in, oh no, the winter cohort's full. Okay, so you can give up then. Okay, I'm going to keep teaching myself. I'm going to keep making sure that I can get as far as I can, or leaning on to other supports as far as I can. And then if another support beam it comes up at the time, seize that opportunity. It's just keep making sure you keep pushing through and take those opportunities when you can. You got to be a yes man to anything that opens the door, even if it's something that you don't think is the right thing at the time. It's not to say that you let people push you in life, obviously, or just do whatever anybody wants. But if an opportunity comes up, say yes to your opportunities and just keep pushing, because something will come along to people who continue to try like that. I mean, it's not overnight. I'm in year 4 of the process of trying to re-enter, get back into society and everything, and I'm on coming up on just over a year of trying to self-teach, and we've been about 3 months with the program and everything. So it's all been a slow process, no doubt, but you keep pushing. You'll start to manifest those things in your life that you need to put you onto that higher level. I would love to, absolutely, yeah. Either as a mentee to continue to sharpen my skills with maybe, either Cole again, because I know he's still a little bit higher level than I am, or with somebody else who is another higher level who can take me kind of from like the beginning level and theory and stuff to really putting it in work. But absolutely, or long-term dream would be to able, like I was talking about, to come back and mentor. Yeah, I'd love to stay with Emergent Works. Absolutely love what they're doing, and you guys are a part of my life now and have helped build me, and so I'd love to, give that back and do it for other people. Yeah. Hopefully, working here maybe on the other side of the camera or something, or doing something else like that in Seattle with my, either with Emergent Works or, like I said, some form of program where I'd love to be opening doors for people, even meeting them before they come out of the reentry stage, while they're incarcerated, and letting them know, like, hey, this can be on the end for you if you want to be a part of this program, kind of catching them before they come out, and instead of them falling back on their opportunities, they're falling back on you, Yeah. Great question. I mean, still kicking it. I'm assuming still killing it, right? I mean, I don't know too much about Emergent Works lifetime before me, admittedly. It was a pretty new thing to be introduced to. But in my short time with Emergent Works, the only fact I know for sure is that they're going to do everything 110%. They might not know exactly what the roadmap looks like today. They might have a bunch of different suggestions and a bunch of different paths that they're trying to explore and everything, but I know that Emergent Works is going to be there supporting you, and I can't see that fizzling away after 5 years. There's too much fire, there's too much purpose, and there's too much passion behind the people that lead it, and I think you can start to see that that's going outside of the people who lead it and starting to bleed into some of the members and the mentors and mentees that you guys are having. At least from my summer cohort, I feel like I can see that. Yeah. Great question. What do I want to tell the tech industry? We're coming for you, man. That's it. Like, you can try to put these doors up, but we're coming. Like, the people who want these jobs, the people who want, I know money's usually the biggest driving factor for people, especially to try to switch into tech, and the money's there, no doubt. But the money's been safe in the hands of the few, and the hands of the kind of, if you know people, and you get to continue to ride that wave of elitism. But not anymore. We're coming. Emergent Works is starting it. I'm part of it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there to take somebody's job. I'm going to make sure that my people are going to be there to take other people's jobs after that, for sure. I'm Brandon Booth, and I'm a former mentee and a proud member of the Emergent Works family. And I believe excellence in code can come from anyone.